All right, and let's go ahead and get started. Howdy, howdy, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sharkinbear, and welcome to the channel where today we're going to be checking out another game through inspiration of the Open World Survival Craft Fest that's currently going over on Steam. That is Voidtrain. Voidtrain has a special place in my heart, and I can't wait to see more of this game. The development time for this one has been pretty lengthy so far. We're still on chapter 1 of 3 chapters, and it's been out on Steam for about a year now. That isn't to say that they haven't done a whole bunch with the game. The game has had apparently 5 major updates, like changing and improving upon the foundation of the game itself. So we're going to check this out for a little bit. If you like the content and you want to see more games like Voidtrain here on the channel, make sure you're liking, subscribing, and commenting about down below, and let me know if you want to see more games like this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I do have a save file, but because of the fact that it has been such a long time since I played this game, according to this, is that I believe this is backwards. There's no way. This came out in May of last year, so I'm assuming maybe it's saying the last time I played was September. Maybe it's backwards, 09/03 2023. I don't know. Either way, we're going to start a new game because there have been a lot of changes.
Sometimes the spirit of adventure beckons so much it's pointless to resist it. Some people find enough courage to get on a train and head off into outer space. No. Also no. Wrong again. These are all wrong stories. Ah, there it is, the forest. This train was passing through impenetrable, dense forests. However, that was not an aimless journey, but a long way up here, right into the heart of the endless snowy nowhere. A perfect place for those who prefer tranquility, silence, and minus 45 degrees outside the window. Meet the man who made off into this palace of silence, the engineer. He'll be here on watch duty for many long and cold months, until the next lucky guy strides in to replace him. If one comes through at all, of course. But there's no need to feel sorry for him. Although the terrain is wild, there's plenty to see and do around here, especially if you're curious enough. Fortunately for my story, engineers are almost always inquisitive and attentive. These people notice things that elude the average person. And everything would have been fine in this adventure if the blizzard had not started at the wrong time. The chilly wind blew the engineer off the trail, which he immediately lost sight of. His fingers instantly turned into ice like everything else around him. The last hope of salvation, a map of the terrain, treacherously slipped out of his hands. Luckily, the video's timing didn't allow the engineer to suffer for long. All of a sudden, in the middle of snowy nowhere, it appeared. A door to... Where to, by the way? The building didn't seem to be on the engineer's maps. Anybody home? This is how it all usually starts.
All right, so that is the same of the game. That seems to be more or less the same tutorial we usually get.
Hut, there was nothing. No people. No warmth. Only darkness.
Yeah, so not much has changed here in the starting area, but I'm expecting a lot of it to be mostly the in-game stuff whenever we get to our actual train. So we're going to go ahead and basically get used to the controls right here, but I do know that we need to go open this box and get power turned on around here.
If I were you, I'd look for a key. Or something that looks like a key. Maybe just something heavy.
Oh, yeah, we're looking for a wrench or something around here. Where did we find that? Oh, there we go. Well, that's definitely not a wrench.
Well, I don't think that's going to help.
A cup might come in handy.
A heavy blunt object. Gotta grab it.
I've always liked this gauntlet in the way it looks. It's very small Pip-Boy-esque. You know, without the monitor and stuff. But I wouldn't mind wearing one of those in real life, making sure to keep my journal and stuff off me. Or on me.
I'm afraid there's nothing left to fix with a hammer. Any other ideas?
See where the game leads us. Say it was just a bad fuse. Oh, let's put some tape on it. That'll make it better.
Oh, and so my glorious hero, having passed all the hardships of his watch, finally obtains a light in order to notice something strange on the table?
Yeah. Is it a different table or the one we're looking at? Okay, there we go. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how people feel about this intro, but I've always loved the whimsical nature of this intro. Plus, I love the Nordic runes. I'm assuming that's what those are. I'm all about Nordic stuff. Chapter 1, Entering the Void.
Hey, you all right? Oh, you're finally awake. A typical day on watch, huh? Well, this might come in handy.
What might come in handy? Moving into the void. Okay. So essentially it's basically saying that we are now freely able to move into the void. If you want to go out and collect resources, which is what you'll do, you'll just jump out here into the middle of nowhere, and you'll be tethered to your little platform for right now. This is the main way that you'll be collecting resources and like the main gameplay loop of the game. Of course, we're starting out with pretty much a trolley cart right now. But what we'll want to do is basically follow the objectives right now. We've just picked up ourselves a diary, and we can access that anytime if we press H. This is basically where we'll keep all our secrets and stuff. And then if we ever want to go back to the train, we can just hold down F.
Mind wouldn't have any trouble figuring out the mechanism of a simple trolley.
I see a piece of metal up there. I'm going to go ahead and snag that. And then we'll go ahead and operate the train. So we got ourselves a little horn. We got ourselves the brake, and then, of course, we have ourselves the trolley handle. But we're going in reverse, so let's go ahead and...
Well, pretty much.
Oh.
Try pulling the other lever.
Yeah. This one right here. There we go. And now we should be moving forward.
Now. Just slowly.
Now, the cool thing is, you got a little trolley handle right here, and you can actually make the trolley go faster.
That's a useful book you've picked up.
If you do that.
Kind of scientist or inventor?
But in the meantime, while we're being pulled, we can actually jump off our trolley.
That was awkward.
Let the guy do his talking real quick. But yeah, we can basically let our trolley do most of our moving for us, and while it's pulling us, we can actually collect a lot of our resources just by going out here like this. And this is actually a fairly good way to collect stuff early game. It's to let the trolley pull yourself behind it. Honestly, probably the preferred way. Because there's so much stuff here in the void, you're going to want to pick up everything all the time. And honestly, there's going to be so much stuff that you have to collect that you'll find yourself slowly getting through stage by stage. Because this game does have stages or levels. Basically, there is the end of the track. And it basically teleports you onto another form of track, which you will then find other resources and other stages on. So just following this, I should be able to just collect myself some resources, and then that way I'll be able to then more or less craft our first research station, or our first workbench. So while we're doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and collect all of this, and when I'm tired of collecting all the resources I think I can, I will then make my way back to our trolley. And the cool thing again, you'll always be pulled towards the trolley or pulled with a trolley, so we'll never be able to get lost in this sense. Probably my favorite concept of this game. Now there are hazards to be careful of. Eventually you won't be able to just wade through all of this like I have. And if you ever want to stop it, you can in fact just turn on the brake if you want to take your time. Like, you don't have to race through all of this like I am. You are totally able to just take this at your own leisure like this if you so want to. Stop every couple of feet or miles or whatever you want to call it, and harvest all the resources you can. There is backpack space, so right here you can see I currently have a certain number of backpack spaces. What is this? 12 slots right now, but over time you will also be able to get a better bag. So now that we have a number of resources, we can press B, and that's going to give us the different things that we're able to build. This guy wants us to build a research station, or at least the narrator wants to build a research station, and you build that right up on the platform. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. You can put it anywhere inside the buildable form of your carriage. Oh, this is new. We didn't used to have this little dude. This is a Reflamo, I believe. And now it looks like we have a couple of things to do here. This was also a very much overhauled thing. It looks like we need to somehow get research points, which I am not sure how you get research points. That's also a new system. How do you do that? Looks like giving up a couple of items here will give us some research points. So we add those. We then spend those? Is that what we do here? Okay. Definitely new. And once we've completed this, we're then able to go on to the next section and find other things. So looks like this is going to cost us 10 and this is going to cost us 5. All right, that's good to know. That is definitely something that is vastly different than what it used to be. So it looks like I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to go out and harvest a couple more resources pulled by the trolley. If we get it ready to enter a new area, I'll go ahead and come back to you guys so that way we can check out what the transition from stage to stage looks like. So I'll be right back with you after I've gathered a hefty amount of resources. Alright, and I've collected enough resources, and it looks like we're getting ready to come up on our like level change. I can tell because there's that blue fire symbol in the distance, and that basically tells me that we're getting ready to reach a tunnel that'll transition us into the next zone. So while I was pulling us over there, I'm going to grab these couple of things around us because there is a plethora of items just hovering in the area that we can turn into our research station to start looking at building on to the next couple items. One of the pop-up tutorials that did show up while I was away collecting resources did indicate that, of course, there is food and water to concern yourself with. It's really only one bar. It's satiation. Your sate. I don't know how the singular of that. But you need to satiate yourself with food and water. It isn't just one bar. So if you look underneath my health bar, the bottom left, you'll see the little pink bar. That's basically how well I'm satiated right now. And I can eat organics, turn ice into water, and or make ourselves some food. You can even build yourself a little farm on your cart if you so choose. So that's pretty cool. I think I'm going to go ahead, and our bag is pretty full, so I can go ahead and probably move on to the next area and like not concern myself with finding every single little thing that's floating out here in the middle of nowhere. But I can't help myself. I have a little bit of a OCD sort of thing when it comes to this sort of thing right here. I can't stop clicking on it. I can't stop clicking. And the collector in me just won't let all these pieces of sexy looking scrap metal just sit out here uncollected. I gotta stop yourself. Okay, cool. So we're done with that. I'm gonna go ahead and look at this book, and we'll go ahead and turn a couple things in here. So I'm gonna go like 15 on both because we're gonna collect a lot of this stuff. That's going to give us a whole bunch of points. We'll hold on to the chemicals. And so the stuff on the bottom is always going to be like decor items, so that's good. So we've knocked out level 2 right there. Looks like we can come back, and we don't need the bottom stuff, but this stuff right here is always necessary. Unlocks a water condenser as well as a stash upgrade. Now the stash upgrades are pretty cool because they in fact allow you to more or less increase the space of your storage boxes without having to actually physically like build a new storage box. You like just get extra space in them by default, which is a pretty nice way to do it. And based off of what's going on right now, music-wise, I can tell the game is preparing to, you know, amping up to let us know that there's something coming, which is the transition to the next area. Let's go ahead and pump this up, and we will go ahead and head through that. Oh. There we go. And we'll just let it pull us through while I collect more items. But you'll always come across one of these gates, and then we'll transition on to the next zone. Is there anything we can build right now while we're waiting? I can go ahead and build a chest. I think I will. Go do that. And then we just, oh, we need an ingot to do that. So I need to make my smelter. Alright. Get rid of that. And it looks like we are off in the next area, and it looks like we stopped somewhere.
Expect to be greeted with balloons and fanfare, but where is everybody?
Not enough fuel, so it looks like we need to add ourselves some fire. Add 75 fuel. So this is definitely an overhaul to what used to be here as well. Looks like we can go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and craft the max. And let that go. And while we do that, we'll go ahead and cut through this story area. I don't know if this has been changed at all either, but there have been some improvements to the UI and how crafting and stuff is handled. So we'll try to cut through this as quick as possible story-wise. The good news is we will find ourselves some items in here to take back to our ship. Or our thingy. I don't know what a blue sample is. That's a new item in itself. Ouch. Alright, looks like we need to pop under the door there. And then, because we're in a void, we can literally just jump and hover over all this. Oh. I heard they also did away with a couple of items in the game that were redundant or just making the game overly complex for no reason. Because like oils and greases and acids and stuff like that, there are a whole bunch of stuff, items that you can in fact just get stuck in a loop of having to create over and over again. So I think they just did some quality of life changes on those to make it a little bit more seamless and less grindy. I'm just gonna run all through this.
Poor thing. Well, the goddesses of time and fate can't weave a long life path for everyone. Well, at least he won't be needing a revolver anymore.
Nice. So there's our revolver. It's one of the trusty weapons we get. You will be able to create other weapons and also modify them as you go.
This skeleton was. So many diagrams on the table. He's probably some kind of designer. Well, used to be.
So we'll continue on our way. I think that was like the big... Oh, there were some blueprints on this table. I think I did that last time I was here. Looks like we got a note for something. Oh, like a control node for, that leads to a train yard.
Of the safe right out in the open. That was a great idea.
Wait, is there...
Don't ever do the same thing, okay?
Is there a safe somewhere? Oh, there is a safe.
I got an idea. We're gonna need those parts soon.
Alright, so time to get out of here. We'll basically shoot our way out, making sure we collect all the resources on the way. We definitely need some more research points, so it's important to basically get them where we can. Definitely gonna have to figure out where these blue samples are for.
Now about my brilliant idea and the details. The console on the platform looks suspiciously similar to the device in the blueprints. It was mentioned there in the train upgrade paragraph. I'd tell you what to do about it, but I have no idea.
Alright, so we'll go and expand our train. We can go ahead and click this. It looks like we need to add an additional wagon, or we can upgrade. Okay, so this is new. Before, you just got the components to it, and it'll let you upgrade to different car slots, essentially, or upgrade the wagon you currently have into a larger size. It seems now they just give you kits for it. We can also build modules on there. Looks like we can add a wagon if we have a specific thing. And you can look at previous and next car, but seeing as how we are not there, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to get rid of this right here. And also you'll notice that there isn't really a floor for this yet, so we can go into our building. And I actually bought the supporter pack a while ago, so that's the reason why I have slightly different floors. Looks like it won't let me change those floors at all. That's okay. And yeah, and oh yeah, we should have our ingots now. Looks like we have 7 ingots right there. We'll go ahead and do that. Now we have that. And we'll go ahead and take the brake off and let this take us wherever it's going to take us. Meanwhile, while it's doing that, I'm going to look to see what else we have in here. Looks like we have a water condenser, a kitchen, research table, a workbench. It's going to be important that we should probably put it on a workbench. I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. And now we're out in another wilderness. It is important to note
Is not clever or intelligent. You can hardly call it dangerous either.
that we're on, okay, so we're on path 2 right now. We will have to concern ourselves with stuff like leeches that'll attach to our train car and try to slow us down. And I think that before there also used to be like a shark that used to be swimming around in here. It's like a cosmic shark. Let's see if we can get a sight of him if he's still in the game. I know they made changes to him because before he was always present, but they had given him essentially mutators that would essentially make it to where he was hard to deal with. And we got some leather there as well. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the car for a moment. Let's go ahead and hit this and take a look around in our surroundings. So the void is more or less very similar in a lot of areas, but you'll start to see new geometry, and eventually we'll be able to travel out further and further from our trolley, essentially, to collect resources and to solve puzzles and whatnot. From my understanding, there's arenas, and there's also like army depots where you can do battle with some strange cosmic soldiers out in the wilderness. You can even befriend some little alien dudes like this guy right in here. He doesn't have a name, but most of them are able to be born and also given a name by you, so that's something cool to take into consideration. Looks like we have a new goal there for storage to build a research and build container rack 1. Is that what this is right here? It is. Let's go ahead and see how much stuff we have that we can get this. We can go ahead and probably give like a solid 10 over here. I'm going to go ahead and give like 19 points there. And we'll go ahead and build a storage rack. This will allow us, of course, to build ourselves a rack to put a shelf on, and they could put it, we could fit another shelf on top of it, so that way we take up less space on our train. Next thing we get is a loot catcher's nest, and it looks like we need 20 research points to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and let the train go, and I'm going to be on the lookout for the shark, as well as other resources, so that we can unlock the loot catcher, because that is an entirely new item or thing that I don't think I remember being in the game beforehand. So it seems like something is happening here. There's some heavy music coming up, and oh, there's another train track over there. I vaguely remember this. Looks like we're getting ready to find ourselves in battle with one of the normal enemies we'll find throughout the game, I believe. It's definitely a soldier train.
Can you see it too? Or am I hallucinating already?
Yep, there's a soldier train, all right.
Can they see us? Hey!
Maybe we need to honk. Oh yeah, we need to honk our horn, of course.
Well, whatever.
Well, it looks like they don't want to deal with this right now. So we'll go ahead and take the break off, and we'll go ahead and head that way. You know, the only way we can go on this train. And while I'm doing that, collecting more resources, but I imagine we're probably going to end up having to deal with those guys in a little bit. So yeah, give me just a moment and we'll be back, and we might be fighting off against those guys before I even get around to finding all my research point stuff. And it looks like blue samples are actually just stuff to spend for research points, because they give me a great deal of research points. That's awesome. It also seems to me that there are a whole bunch of items here we can look forward to finding in the future as well. And now I'm sitting on a bank of 65 research points. That's pretty nice. We can go ahead and build the loot catcher's nest. And see, we also have an option for a garden as well as demolisher that'll allow me to get stuff back on destruction. And I'm really not looking at the decor stuff too much right away. I'm just looking to make stuff that's going to immediately benefit me in the here and now, which we got ourselves a number of things that we can build here on our platform now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to build all of those. Give me a moment. I'll be right back with my new and improved train. Oh, and also just to point out, if you press, I believe it's T? No, it's not T. If I press N, that's what it is. I had a look at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. We can actually pick up items that we already have and then relocate them somewhere else. So, for instance, I just built this shelf right here that allows me to stack multiple containers in one area. We can then stack this up. And because of the fact that I have, I believe, already picked up the, I believe containers only by default had like 3 spaces, and we got increased space here through the research table. I believe that's what that was. If I go back a little bit, or maybe I haven't gotten that yet. There's something, I swear. Oh, we haven't got it yet. We didn't spend the points on it. Let's see how many spots that adds if we do something. I'll go ahead and add 4 there, 5 there, and like 1 there. And let's see what this does if I get that. Because I'm kind of curious how many spots this adds. There we go. I mean, it says +1. But again, yeah, it adds it immediately to the container, so there's no need to like build another container or anything like that. So that is very nice. What else can we build here? Just to showcase some of the building, by the way, we'll go ahead and build ourselves a water condenser. So if I select the water condenser, I am then allowed to find somewhere on our thing to build it. I can just put right there. And then we'll see the parts we need. It looks like we need some bolts and whatever that other thing is. So first things first, if you come over to your workbench, we'll see that we can do some bolts. We need exactly 1 iron bar. I have an iron bar on me. But then copper pipe was the other thing. And I believe we can make copper pipes, or copper bars. That requires 1 chemical and a scrap metal. I'll go ahead and add some fuel here. And then I'll add in these, and I'll make like 2 of them. And after we get our copper bar out of this, I think we only need 1 really right now. We can then take the copper bar and make the copper pipe. So copper is made out of the same stuff for iron, just with the assistance of having chemicals on there. So that makes that fairly easy. I believe that's always been the same. I don't think there have really been any changes to that. So we're going to pick up that copper bar, and then we'll go ahead and make the copper pipe. And then as soon as that copper pipe is done with, it'll show up right here on this bench. We'll be able to pick that up and then apply that to the station we have put down. And water condensers are used to generate and store water. They work automatically without the involvement until they fill their storage. Don't forget to collect water from the building storage. Water can be used to replenish the character's regeneration rate and in various crafting processes. So that's very good. So now this is a new item entirely. So I'm also very new to that as well. There's a number of other things here we can do. Definitely want to try to see if we can get into this loot catcher's nest. But then I also need to go ahead and try to put down a kitchen and a lab. A couple number of things here, but we can go ahead and try to at least start the process, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. And then we'll go ahead and put down the thing for a lab. I think we can probably put the lab right here next to the chests. So we have that. And then if we go ahead and go back in here, I'll go ahead and put something down for the loot catcher nest. And it looks like this needs water to work. That's okay. So there we go. So now I have some overall goals of what to build. I can just look over them and it'll tell me exactly what resources we need. So it looks like we need a lot of more chemicals and scrap metal before we get to be able to build all that. But we're just going to let the ship or the carriage run its course. And while it's running its course, I am just going to keep collecting resources out here until our next destination. Alright, so I'm back. I've managed to collect a couple of resources as well as build a couple of things. I found out that water resource and water generation is a huge amount of stuff, like supplies to different items here on our cart, essentially. So basically what I did is I made another water condenser, and the reason why is because I realized one of the things that was missing from the game is that originally there used to be organics floating in the void, and that would be a way that you would basically feed yourself and get your hunger filled. However, from what I can tell, it looks like there's no longer organic components that float out in the ether. Instead, the way you're basically feeding yourself is by planting crops, which is coming from a very unusual place, I definitely have to say, as well as cooking water, all of which gives you 10% of your basically hunger back. And so, yeah, so I made a kitchen. I have 2 water condensers now, so we can get more water back because food and water both give back 10% of health. We made 2 gardens. Those actually come from the little floating sea otter thingies that are out here in the open. There's probably not going to be any near because we're about to transition to a different zone. But then we also built the loot catcher. So the way this works is actually a fairly interesting thing. In exchange for water, it will actually go out and collect items for you in a radius around this and then bring it back and fill it in here. So as long as we fill this up with water, which is another place to use water at, this guy will help us out. So it looks like we might want to build another one of those just so we can help getting all this stuff around. So I'm going to go ahead and punch the brake here, and we're going to work our way over to the door. And because I assume, oh, look at that, look at him go. That's pretty cool. I like that. He just kind of teleports all over the place. I wonder how often he does that. Oh, so like every so often he will go out and about and do that. Let's see. Is it like every couple of seconds or something? It looks like maybe like every 30 seconds he might go out for another item. I want to see how this works. He's getting ready to go wherever it is. Yeah, okay. So that's exactly how it works. So like on a timer, he'll go and collect. So there's definitely a need to want to go out and maybe build a couple of those stations and have it filled with water. I can see that being a thing, just so that you don't have to do that all on your own all the time. So we'll go ahead and collect these couple of resources, and we're about to punch through the gate. And I imagine we're about to get into our first gunfight for the story, like the narrative-wise. So let's go ahead and let that happen. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and collect these right here and cook them up so that I can feed myself. So we got 2 right here. We'll go ahead and craft that. And they'll come up right here on the side. And we just pick them up right here and eat these. That's pretty cool. Looks like our water collector is definitely, you know, doing its job. Oh, I'm gonna get this metal before we go through, or the scrap. We could probably be smelting some more ore if we want to. I'm actually going to end up building another smelter, is what I'm actually going to do. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and drop some stuff in this chest, by the way. right, and away we go. Where's it going to drop us off at? Is it where I think it is? Is it our first gunfight? Yes, it is. It in fact is. So now after we ran into those guys...
Can't expect a warm welcome. That's a shame.
Yeah, exactly as he says. Like, now that we've come here, it's going to lead us over there. There's going to be a whole bunch of men fighting out with us. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and collect all these resources here. And I'm going to see if there's any guys over here we need to fight. There's not. So let's go ahead and check this out. We'll check out the rest of this depot in a little bit, but it's better to try to dispatch these guys as best we can. Now, I don't know if I see that their AI is improved. I don't know necessarily what that means, but we can die really fast here, since we are not currently that well defended. We don't have any armor to speak of, which is something you will be able to eventually make in the game. And we do have ourselves a rather... Oh god, where's he going? Managed to headshot him. My gun skills are much to be needed. We might need to take some cover. Where'd he go? Alright, we managed to headshot him. There's still other enemies to consider with. There's one coming up. Can we see him? Come on. Oh. They're doing better on the cover thing. Before you couldn't, you keep on, even if they were, you could see their head, they would basically not be able to be hit. You'd basically have collision detection on that, and I am missing all those shots.
What's that sound? Is there someone else in here?
Looks like we have a couple of revolver pieces here, and we might be able to go ahead and build a new gun. It is very possible that is a thing. Got some copper junk, which I don't ever remember seeing before. So it looks like there's a noise here. He wants us to investigate. Maybe it's this way? Tuning it a little bit better, I think. I don't think that knob's working.
Once again, a self-made trolley, small with armed, motives unclear, presumably linked to the personnel has been eliminated on post number. Permission granted to open fire to kill. Over and out.
Well,
I think we're connected to someone. We got here on a scientist trolley, through his portal, we're using his notes, we're following his trail. Maybe that's who they're talking about.
maybe it is. In the meantime, before we head on back to our trolley, it's probably going to be best if we try to collect all resources here. There's actually a good these little stops are amazing for finding additional resources to take back on our ship or our trolley, just so that we don't have to go hunting for them. One of the things that I haven't figured out yet, and I don't know if it's even in the game yet, but there are these forge stations, I guess. They've got Nordic symbols on them, a Nordic design. I wonder if those have been implemented just yet. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in due time. For now, I'm going to collect a whole bunch of resources, and I will meet you guys back at the trolley. Alright, so we made it back to the trolley, and it looks like they have their own little train station thing, and we can go ahead and upgrade our wagon even further, and now we have pretty much an extended wagon here that we can put flooring down and have additional space for other things, such as maybe making some more loot catcher nests, maybe even making a couple of more water condensers if we really need it. And I go ahead and set floor down on these as well. And I believe that's pretty much where we're good for now before we need to take off further into the void. But they also have a fairly good showcase of what's currently going on inside of what's going on inside of Voidtrain. Sorry about that. I had to step away for a moment. But yeah, that's currently a showcase of what's going on right now there in the game. And it's pretty much indicative of what the gameplay looks like. Now, there is other stuff to do. Like, there are more things to do. Eventually, you will also start to leave the train, as there'll be more islands like this, but more of an arena state. Hell, you'll even be able to use a grapple hook that you'll get to pull resources to you, as well as find a way to basically launch from little planetoid to planetoid out in the void, leading to different treasures, troves, and secrets. But this is Voidtrain. I actually think this is a fairly unique title in of itself. I think it lends itself creatively into like a genre with a unique twist on it. There really isn't any sort of like transportation type survival crafting thing. You're not so much as trying to establish a base as you already have a base and you're building it out and then uncovering the mysteries of the world. You know, and again, I would say that this title is definitely something that everyone should try out if you feel like this is for you. But that is also, you know, as a reminder, this game is still a work in progress. It's still probably a fair ways off before we finally see a finished project, and especially a couple more months until we even see an Act 2. Based off the roadmap that they originally published at the release of the game, I will say that their second wave of stuff leading into Chapter 2, they had a whole bunch of tick boxes that they wanted to check off to make sure the game was ready to the status that they want it to be ready to. And the only thing left in the second portion of it is Chapter 2. So that being said, based on their cadence of releasing materials, again, we've had like 5 or 6 major updates since the release of the game. I would say that we're probably looking at maybe another 4 or 5 months before we see Chapter 2, which is going to add in probably another hefty amount of content to the game, especially narrative-wise as well. But yeah, that's Voidtrain. What did you think about it? Is this something that you're curious in? Is this something you've held off on because of the, you know, the release of the content? Or is this something you've never seen before and it might interest you as well? That being said, I also wanted to point out, I believe this game is also can be played cooperatively, although I've not tried that yet. That would be pretty fun, especially since I have such an amazing time playing games like Raft on a multiplayer sense. So that being said, you guys take care, and I will catch you all in my next video. Later.